Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we are working on the van. We got a trip planned, so there's a few things that we have to get ready on it. One, we got to rotate the tires. It's been about 2 years since we got them installed, which also means changing tire pressures because we run them staggered. And then I'll show you guys kind of a basic setup that we do that's been plenty for us. Everybody wants to do this crazy elaborate nonsense that weighs too much. A sheet of plywood, some 2x4s. And considering we aren't living out of it, it's plenty. Considering the van is now roughly 5 or 6 inches taller than it was stock, the scissor jack that comes with it is not really going to cut it unless we really want to mess with it out in the field. You just don't want to deal with it. So we got this one off of Amazon. It was the top rated one, but it's an extra high lift tube jack, and it's semi-compact. We'll be able to just stow it away roughly in the same amount of space that the scissor jack takes. And what better way to test it out before we take it out into the field than right here in the driveway. Since I'm rotating the tires front to back anyway, normally I would stick this under an axle, but we're gonna lift up one side at a time, pop it right underneath the frame, let it take its sweet time. We'll jack it up and pop these wheels off. Just that amount got us enough clearance that we'll be able to pull these tires right off. Some guys from the other videos were asking how exactly we got the lift in. Essentially, it's just for the front, it's a spacer. It's about 1.5 inches, 2 inches or so thick. But when you put it at the bottom of the spring, it kind of jacks the whole spring up, and essentially you get 3 inches roughly. That's what the math came out to be. And then a Bilstein shock, just because I know them. They are tough. And so far, they've been riding great. I'm trying to get a part number here for you guys, but it's hard to see it. I think it's on the other side. And then on top of that, obviously, the hockey puck, which has been great right there. For the back, the kit came with new U-bolts and this spring pack spacer, I guess you would call it. This thing alone was like 2.5 inches or something like that, and obviously you need the longer bolts to accommodate it, and of course Bilstein shocks for the back, which everything has been holding up pretty great, and we've taken this thing all over the place. The van asks for a whopping 140 pounds. We'll put that up there, dead on. The gun will do 100 in the first setting, 550 in the second, and 1700 in the third. So I tighten it with the 100, and then I'll hit it with the torque. These KO3s are rated as good as they are because it's true. They have been absolutely fantastic. I'm not too sure how many miles I've already put on them, but every single one of them has been quiet, and I've trusted them in about just any sort of environment. They've done fantastic. Obviously, all season and all terrain, they have not let us get stranded anywhere. So, shout out to them. Well, this jack has been doing pretty great so far. And now just to do the other side. Shout out to the little Amazon jack. Pretty compact, did the job as it needed to do it. Only thing I wish that it did better was if it had a handle. And this thing is collapsible, but I wish it had a place to like store it so that it's not just loose. That's gonna be a little bit annoying, but I'll probably figure out a good spot to put it in the van so that we don't have to worry about that. So unless you drive a Dodge Ram, you can probably read. Most vans and trucks, even cars, will have the PSI requirements for front and back, or all four corners, whatever it might be, on the inside of the door or on the actual pillar itself. And being that this is the 3500, we got 50 PSI for the front and 80 for the back, because we actually can haul stuff. I've hauled a pallet of concrete already in there. So what we're going to do that is deflate the fronts, because obviously we swapped them. They're at 80 now. Bring them down to that 50, put the back ones up to 80. For the bed platform, all I did was actually make out of 2x4s, just some framing, just under 4 feet apart, to go right over the wheel wells, but also tall enough that these totes from just Costco or Home Depot will fit right underneath it. We don't weigh 1,000,000 pounds when we're on here, so we can get away with just a 3/4 inch piece of plywood, wide enough to fit a full-size mattress. And then off of Amazon, we got just a mattress pad, I guess you would call it, with one of these washable tops on here. We don't need a full-size 6-inch mattress, right? I like to be able to like sit up in here and not hit my head, and this allows that to happen. For the boys, you guys have seen in the past just a regular mattress pad that goes on their seats that fold down, that I've showed you guys a million times. As far as storage wise, 4 totes fit, 2 side by side and then 2 up in the front, and in each one we'll have different stuff. In this one we have the shower, and we'll pull this apart and make sure everything is here so that we have everything for our trip. For the kitchenette, it's super basic and it's extremely functional. It's just a mini fridge with a piece of plywood as a topper, and then we have the microwave here, strapped everything down, including the power inverter. 3000 watt is plenty for us, and a deep cycle battery that we got a screaming deal off of, I think, on Marketplace. I got 2 of these. They're 75 hours each, and I think I paid 300 bucks for the 2 of them. They're off of a forklift. Normally I think they're 500 a piece. And all I did is run a power cable down the side of the van into the firewall, and then a ground straight to the body right here. And it works. Part of making sure that we have everything that we're gonna need for our trip is to make sure that we have hot water. 1, for showers if we want to take them, and 2, because where we plan on going, we want to make sure that we can wash off our feet and stuff like that before we get into the rig and before we call it a night. In general, we have our Julka kit here that I've shown you guys in other videos, and this is how we produce our hot water. It's actually super simple. And then it hooks up to propane. The only part that we didn't have in that other video to show you guys was actually this, which is a, I don't know what you would call it, a raw water pump. I have yet to even assemble it because where we've gone, we haven't needed it. But essentially, this goes into a container of water that we have, and then goes through the hot water tap, and we get hot water. So I'll assemble this to make sure that it works, and we'll turn it on. Even though all the hoses look kind of complicated, it's honestly super simple. You got 12 volts going into the pump, one hose into your water, the other hose goes into the machine, and then you have a hot water out, and you got your propane. And this thing is so smart. It literally works on its own. The machine is completely turned off right now, including the pump. And then when I flip it, the pump senses that there's water flowing through, the heater turned on, and now we have hot running water.
It's so nice.
And shuts off on its own when I flip the switch. There's not even any electronics, but it knows. It's awesome.
It's a smart shower.
Yeah, it is a smart shower. I think it's Swedish or something like that. Smart guys. Check that out. Perfect.
And you can hear the fire in there.
Yeah, you can hear the flame turn on.
Wait, what?
And then boom, hot water. You can see the steam come out.
Wait, there's fire in here? Yeah,
With that pump disconnected, there's that pressure, nothing. And everything else just goes straight back into his box. Everything is quick connect.
Maybe that's to kind of heat it.
Including the gas. That's it. So we love camping with fire, with bonfire, and we always carry at least one bin, if not two of it. But a lot of places, especially during the summer, have burn bans in place, except for if it's contained in a certain way. Now, unless I find like a spare tire that I'm going to carry with us to do a slightly bigger bonfire, in the meantime, just in case we can't do it anywhere, I did find this thing, which normally you would think it's all chintzy, but it's really not bad at all because it's its own little platform. Latches in place so that you don't melt whatever the thing is hanging on, and comes with a little grate so you can roast your hot dogs. We'll make a little fire if we have to right in there, but at least this way, literally anywhere we go, we can at least do some sort of fire that we can sit around and enjoy. And it comes in this compact little way. But before we pull this thing out, I'm gonna find a spare tire somewhere. But it's cool though, because it can fold super compact. Comes in its own little carrying pouch thing. Fits right inside of our little wood thing, slides right on there, and we're good to go. Part of us not being home, going on these trips, means that we have to be prepared with recovery gear. So we got our big ass strap here, we got gloves, and we also have traction boards. And these will have its own spot underneath the bed when we get to moving. This is one of my favorite parts of the build. It's this table slash storage here. We hold here one of these universal kits that has a pass-through. That way we don't need two sets. We don't need a deep socket and a shallow one. We just have one of those pass-through style ones. This is for tires. in case we have a puncture or something, we can easily repair it. Aluminum stuff, it's all solid with extra valves too, so that stays in there as well. And then we have extra recovery straps with D-rings. You can never have too much stuff. And then some smaller cargo straps, and I have another couple that I'll be putting back in here. Extra set of gloves, obviously hatchet, and a fold out saw, nice and new, so it's nice and strong. And we have a few lighters and a knife sharpener, so make sure that's all in there. This is going to be the first trip of the year, so we want to make sure everything is in here and we don't go out into the wilderness unprepared. I plan on doing more to kind of build up space and stuff inside the van. A roof rack is definitely coming, and the Julka is going to have its own proper spot somewhere on the outside. You guys are just have to follow along to see that. What I like about our setup though is that, at least for now, I am going to improve on it obviously, but it's like 4 screws holding in the plywood, and then this whole thing comes out. It has not shifted, it has not moved whatsoever in the last 2 to 3 years that we've been running this van. It works, and I can pull it out and still be able to load in a sheet of plywood if I need to. Literally 4 feet by 8 feet, no problem. As far as the van goes for today, that's it. It needs a bath, and then we'll catch you guys when we're out on the road already.